Wanted to just kind of start out by asking if you believe that the current service delivery model provides a cost-effective transportation solution for the consumers of the shared ride programs, including MATP.
How it's, there was one word you used in there that I didn't get. What did you say was the majority of the shared ride system?
I was going to say the medical assistance transportation
MATP.
program.
Okay,
MATP.
That's what you referred to earlier, and then you said that later again. Yes, the shared ride services are a challenge, right? When I was on the SEPTA board, that was one of the hardest things for us to deliver. You call ahead, you schedule it, and not always, the people aren't always where they say they will be. The bus isn't always where they say that they're going to be, and it's very difficult. As far as the MATP program, I know that there has been a change. That program is run out of the Department of Human Services. I'm also glad you asked it, because yesterday during my Senate hearing, I misspoke in that it is a federal regulation, the MATP, where they provide options of how departments of human services can implement the program, and I mistakenly said that it was a federal mandate, and it is not, so thank you for letting me correct that. But DHS here has decided to go with a new program, the brokerage program. It's part of the fiscal code. We are very happy with our discussions with DHS. They have given us input and opportunities to comment back and forth as the RFA goes out and how they look at this. We are comfortable. At first, we thought it was moving too quickly, but we're comfortable now. It's slowed down a bit. But we are hearing from our transit agencies, and they are quite concerned because as the system runs now, and I think it has been running well, they count on a portion of that money coming through every year for shared ride, and that allows them to plan for the future. It allows them to grow and expand their services, and they count on it for operating costs moving forward. And so without being able to count on those money coming in every year, they're uncomfortable, and I can understand that, and they are concerned. So we want to make sure that DHS understands those concerns, that it is looked at as a whole, and that's why I'm really outlining the whole transit challenge. It is big, right? Between the litigation, between the shortcoming and a lot of the money coming in, and now this MATP uncertainty and how it could impact our transit agencies. We want to make sure that all concerns are at the table and everybody is being heard and everyone understands where these concerns are coming from. We don't want to see any of our transit agencies have to cut services because of these, this MATP transition. But as I stated earlier, we're very happy right now with our discussions with the Department of Human Services and how PennDOT has been a part of it and is being asked to explain, what our concerns are and how they're being addressed.
And I would share the concern that just as far as where we're going and what that does to the full picture for transit. Related to that, does PennDOT currently monitor the shared ride service grantees, monitor the cost effectiveness and the compliance with program regulations? Is that something that PennDOT does? We
require strategic plans from our transit agencies. We do surveys. In fact, in doing surveys, that's where we got back the information that in many of our areas, particularly our rural areas, that over 60% of those survey participants said that is their only form of transportation, and without it, they would not be able, to get around. And we have to take that into consideration. Transit is often put into a bucket of being a Philadelphia or Pittsburgh problem, and that is not true. And so I want to make sure that everybody understands that every single county in the Commonwealth will be impacted, and it's seniors, it's people with disabilities, it's people who count on these services, and those that have fixed route services. There's other implications as well.
And I very much agree. Specifically, one thing that has been pointed out to me is that under the current model, a shared ride program can allow riders who are utilizing that service who have multiple reasons for their trip to kind of combine programs together. And there is a concern that under the brokerage plan that is proposed, that now you're talking about separate individual trips because we're talking about separate, completely separate programs. And certainly in a rural area, when you're dealing with moving somebody across large amounts of miles, I think there's a large concern there that if we can't provide these efficiencies by combining trips together, that there'd be a real problem. I understand that I am out of time. I just would like to wrap up by asking if PennDOT has looked at the risks to the transit program, if you've been asked to study the risks that a full brokerage model would provide, and would you be willing to do so if you haven't, if requested either by this committee or a member of this committee?
We continue to having that conversation. We want to make sure that those concerns, are shared at DHS. As I said, our teams are working very well together, and it's my understanding as this progresses that all of those concerns will be shared before, moving further and this process moves, down the line. But I'm impressed with your understanding. It's a very complex issue, and you really, truly understand it.